And Meghan, within 10 minutes, I fell asleep.
It was so boring.
Opening credits when they like freeze frame a person and it's like, you know, Dana Plato is Kimberly on Different Strokes. And it was like Mindy Kaling. And it was
While Meghan Markle has built her brand around freedom, speaking up, and being empowered, sources say she's now trying to silence one of the oldest and most protected forms of speech, making fun of people. This contradiction is what makes this story so shocking. According to reports, Meghan was angry when Megyn Kelly made a parody of the With Love Meghan Netflix trailer, a parody that got more laughs than the original and got more views, shares, and likes than Meghan's expensive production. The Duchess of Sussex, who was once seen as a victim of being silenced by the palace, is now trying to silence comedy itself. And in Hollywood, there may be nothing worse for your reputation than being seen as someone who can't take a joke and sues people all the time. This is where the embarrassment begins, because the parody wasn't hidden on some small website. It became a big deal, one that even Meghan's lawyers knew was hurting her in ways a public statement couldn't fix.
And she is the most insecure person I have seen in the public eye in a long time. That is why everything had to be perfectly curated.
The fact that Meghan's first reaction wasn't to laugh it off, but to send in lawyers, sets the stage for the slow destruction of a brand that once promised strength, but now shows weakness. What makes this opening so telling is the timing. Sources close to the situation say Meghan's legal threats didn't come after Megyn Kelly said she'd make fun of season 2. They came before. Think about that. Meghan wasn't reacting to an attack, she was trying to stop one before it happened. This is fear, pure and simple. Fear that people would be more excited to watch her being made fun of than to watch her actual Netflix content. And when you think about that fear, it shows the heart of the problem.
Biggest absurdity of this whole thing was just how over-the-top perfect everything has to be around her. Her outfit.
Meghan claimed she left the royal family to live freely and control her own voice. Yet when someone else uses their freedom to make fun of her, she responds with lawsuits. That irony isn't just funny, it's damaging because it proves what her critics have always said, that Meghan wants total control, not freedom. Hollywood executives have already noticed this pattern. They see a star who can't laugh at herself, can't handle criticism, and always reaches for the extreme option of legal threats. In an industry where buzz equals money, sources say that makes her a problem, not an asset. The competitor insight here becomes deadly when we look at the numbers. The parody wasn't just funny, it was more successful. Reports suggest it did better than Meghan's official Netflix trailer on multiple platforms. That's the nightmare for any celebrity, when the joke version outshines the real thing. And the audience reaction made it worse. Comment after comment said the same thing. Kelly nailed Meghan's expressions, tone, and self-pitying way of talking. Viewers weren't just laughing at Meghan, they were agreeing with the parody's take on her. In public opinion, that's a death sentence, because it turns mockery into agreement.
You don't have a chicknick table to feed your chickens. Did you catch that?
Did not catch that.
She literally, Meghan, she has a chicken coop and she talks, so she brings out.
Meghan didn't just lose control of the story, she lost control of her image. And if she thought a lawsuit would change that, sources close to streaming executives suggest it may have only guaranteed one thing: more parodies, more ridicule, and more isolation for a brand that was already struggling. Insiders claim Meghan's legal tantrum over a parody has now crossed into what's called the Stryand Effect, where trying to stop content only makes it more viral. In the PR world, this is reputation suicide. Reports suggest that within 24 hours of news breaking that Meghan was considering legal action, major news outlets that never even covered Kelly's parody suddenly put it on their front pages. What had been a funny skit became a headline-making event, not because of the parody itself, but because Meghan Markle tried to kill it. Industry analysts point out the irony. Netflix spent millions making With Love, Meghan, and barely got mainstream attention. Kelly, with just a microphone and a green screen, started a cultural firestorm for free. And Meghan, instead of learning from the difference, made it worse by threatening lawsuits.
And then the camera pans to a miniature picnic table. It looks like something that would go in a child's dollhouse on the ground. And she says, "Don't laugh at me. That is my chicknick table for the chickens." Okay, in this economy.
Right. In Hollywood, this isn't just a PR mistake. It's a flashing red light that screams, difficult to work with. Sources close to streaming executives whisper that every time Meghan does this, decision makers grow more hesitant to approve her projects, knowing the headlines will be about her being fragile. not her work. The fallout inside the industry has been brutal. Multiple sources tell us that Meghan's pattern of micromanaging, endless script approvals, obsessive control over editing, and constant demands for brand polishing has already slowed projects down. Now add the legal overreach, and executives see a nightmare scenario. As one Hollywood insider put it, she doesn't just want to tell her story, she wants to rewrite everyone else's. That attitude has worn thin, not only with Netflix, but with rival platforms that have quietly passed on Sussex-related pitches. The Parody scandal became the perfect example of everything that's wrong with the Meghan Markle brand. Why? Because comedy only works when the audience recognizes the truth in it. And audiences instantly recognized Kelly's parody as based on Meghan's actual behavior. The staged, relatable moments, the carefully planned garden shots, the endless self-pity disguised as empowerment. By overreacting, Meghan basically admitted the parody hit too close to home. She didn't just confirm the joke, she validated it. But the embarrassment doesn't stop with industry whispers. Social media reactions have been even more devastating. Reports suggest that on TikTok and Instagram, the parody clips are now being turned into memes, reaction videos, and comment threads that multiply Meghan's embarrassment with every repost. And the comments reveal the real danger. People weren't just laughing, they were celebrating that someone finally said out loud what they'd been thinking for years, that Meghan Markle's glossy productions feel hollow, overproduced, and painfully fake. She's picking berries in white cashmere pants? Who does that? Wrote one viral commenter. Another added, this parody feels more real than her actual show. In the world of celebrity branding, when the audience starts trusting a parody more than the original, the game is already lost. What Meghan is facing now is not just a PR storm, but a credibility collapse, the exact scenario she fled the monarchy to avoid. And this time, no palace staff can protect her. Reports suggest this isn't Meghan's first time with lawsuits, but it may be her most damaging. In the past, Meghan's lawsuits targeted tabloids, private individuals, and even paparazzi agencies, usually claiming privacy violations. But suing over parody, that's different. Sources close to Hollywood legal circles say that parody is one of the hardest things to fight in court, protected under free speech and backed by decades of legal precedent. By threatening Megyn Kelly over a parody trailer, Meghan isn't just fighting a losing battle, she's showing the industry that she doesn't understand basic media law. And that's the part insiders say worries executives most. It's one thing to be high maintenance, it's another to be reckless, dragging your partners into expensive, unwinnable battles that make them look bad too. Multiple insiders claim Netflix executives were caught off guard by the legal threats and quietly frustrated that the parody scandal overshadowed any promotional momentum for Meghan's brand. One source even described it as the final straw, suggesting patience within the streamer is thinner than Meghan realizes. But this scandal doesn't exist alone. Industry sources say Meghan's credibility has already been under attack thanks to ongoing questions about the Archwell Foundation. Critics point to vague financial reports, underwhelming impact, and a pattern of charity announcements that conveniently align with personal PR pushes. The timing has raised eyebrows for years, but paired with the parody mess, it creates a dangerous mix. Audiences are now questioning whether Meghan's charitable efforts are genuine or just props in a carefully scripted story. And when parody draws blood by mocking her relatable lifestyle moments, the white cashmere berry picking, the perfect chicken coops, the tiny picnic tables, it reinforces the suspicion that everything is staged, nothing is real. That suspicion is far more damaging than a bad review. Once the public believes your entire persona is fake, every new project looks like a performance rather than truth. And for Meghan, who built her brand on being authentic, that's deadly. Then comes the most devastating silence of all, Prince Harry. Historically, Harry has been quick to defend Meghan, whether through interviews, carefully worded press releases, or even legal filings. But this time, he said nothing. Not a word on social media, no interviews, no subtle signals of support. And in the royal gossip world, silence is rarely neutral. Insiders whisper that Harry may be quietly advising Meghan to back off, worried that her overreaction is doing more harm than good. Others suggest he's simply exhausted by the endless cycle of feuds and lawsuits that have defined their post-royal brand. Either way, the absence of his support sends a loud message. Even within their carefully created image of unity, cracks are showing. And that's the revelation Meghan's critics have been waiting for. Because in celebrity branding, unity is strength, and fracture is fatal. If Meghan can't count on Harry to back her public battles, then this legal threat against parody isn't just a mistake. It may be the opening act of a much bigger unraveling. Behind closed doors, Meghan's legal threat has done more than make headlines. It has cemented a dangerous perception in Hollywood that she is simply too difficult to work with. Streaming executives, producers, and PR teams reportedly roll their eyes the moment her name is mentioned. Not because of her star power, but because every project becomes an endless negotiation. One source close to the situation claimed, "It's never just a show with Meghan, it's a war room." Script approvals drag on, edits get micromanaged, and meetings turn into branding lectures rather than creative collaboration. The Parody scandal only made it worse. In an industry built on collaboration, Meghan's attempt to silence a comedian looks like the ultimate proof of her control freak tendencies. And that's the part that scares industry players most. A difficult actor is manageable. A lawsuit happy one? That's career poison. Hollywood has a long memory for stars who drain resources, stall productions, and spark unwanted controversies. And for Meghan, the whispers are growing louder. Executives are quietly freezing her out. But it's not just executives stepping back. Meghan's former allies in the media are quietly retreating too. Remember when lifestyle blogs, glossy magazines, and sympathetic talk shows rallied to defend her at every turn? Those days are fading fast. Reports indicate that defending Meghan Markle has become a reputational liability. Editors who once wrote glowing profiles now hesitate to assign coverage. Producers who booked her for easy interviews quietly decline her calls. Why? Because the public no longer buys the story. Every statement in her defense gets fact-checked, turned into memes, and contradicted within hours. And with Megyn Kelly's parody still circulating, sticking your neck out for Meghan feels like walking into a buzzsaw. In media circles, silence can be louder than criticism. And Meghan is now facing the quiet betrayal of allies who've calculated that protecting their own credibility is worth more than defending hers. It's the slow drip of abandonment, and for a brand built on perception, it's deadly. Then comes the most ominous whisper of all. Sources tell us that Meghan's critics in Hollywood aren't done. Behind the scenes, word is circulating of a new project, one that could make Megyn Kelly's parody look like gentle teasing. While details are scarce, insiders suggest it won't be a parody, but something much sharper, a documentary-style breakdown of Meghan's public contradictions. If true, this would shift the fight into territory Meghan can't control at all. Comedy can be brushed off, investigative satire, backed by evidence, is far more dangerous. And here's where the stakes climb even higher. Audiences are reportedly eager for it. After years of glossy productions built on Meghan's terms, the idea of a raw, unfiltered counterstory has the industry buzzing. If this project moves forward, it won't just embarrass Meghan, it could permanently reshape her reputation, locking her into the very caricature she's been trying to escape. For the Duchess of Deflection, this is the point of no return, because once your critics seize the narrative, even your silence becomes part of the punchline. The fallout from Meghan's legal threats is already echoing across the entertainment industry. According to multiple reports, Netflix executives are quietly reconsidering their long-term commitment to Sussex-branded projects. While nothing official has been announced, insiders claim there's growing hesitation about pouring more money into content that attracts more parody than praise. And the numbers don't lie. Younger audiences, the demographic Meghan worked hardest to capture, are tuning her out in droves. Polling data in both the United States and the United Kingdom shows her favorability dipping to all-time lows, especially among those under 35. That's devastating, because it's not just about whether, with love, Meghan gets a season 2. It's about whether Meghan Markle still holds value as a brand in Hollywood. When the parody is pulling more traction than the product, industry veterans say that's a signal that the market has already spoken. And what it's saying isn't flattering. Meanwhile, Meghan's attempts to rally sympathy are backfiring. The strategy that once won her defenders, framing herself as a victim of unfair attacks, has lost its power. According to PR analysts, it's not because audiences stopped caring about injustice, but because they stopped believing Meghan's version of it. Every lawsuit, every tell-all, every staged, relatable moment has stacked up contradictions too high to ignore. And now, with Megyn Kelly's parody circulating, every attempt Meghan makes to reclaim her story looks like an unintentional reenactment of the parody itself. Even her silence becomes suspicious, and Harry's lack of public defense raises questions about cracks behind palace-sized walls. The Sussex brand was built on unity, resilience, and control. But insiders warn that this scandal has exposed the opposite: division, fragility, and desperation. Hollywood doesn't need another martyr, it needs content that connects. And right now, Meghan Markle feels less like a star and more like a cautionary tale. The bigger question is what comes next. Insiders whisper that the rumored project breaking down Meghan's contradictions could be devastating if it goes forward. If it lands, it won't just mock her Netflix production, it will cement a counter-narrative Meghan may never shake. That's the risk of playing legal hardball in a world where parody is protected. The more you fight it, the more powerful it becomes. Meghan Markle set out to control her story, but this scandal may have finally proven the one thing no PR team wants to admit. Sometimes the story controls you. And that's where the real danger lies, because when Hollywood decides someone is more trouble than they're worth, the phone simply stops ringing. For Meghan, the parody may not just have embarrassed her, it may have quietly marked the beginning of the end of her Hollywood chapter. That's the latest tea on Meghan Markle's legal threats and the parody that outshined her. What do you think? Is this the scandal that finally breaks her brand, or just another chapter in her endless PR battles? Drop your theories in the comments, smash that like button if this shocked you, and don't forget to subscribe for more explosive Hollywood stories. And if you thought this was wild, click here for the next scandal that's already making waves.